What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Lost Tension Outpost. My name is Spada, and it's been a little while, right? I think it's been like 2-ish months or something like that. I'll have to look at the last upload date. I bet you're wondering where I've been. I'll explain a little bit of that here in a minute, but first, real quick, I just wanted to share my thoughts on the LeBron James trailer. Now, for those of you that you're just here for the LeBron James trailer. It's not really an analysis, but just conversation and what I have to say about it. That's going to be the first half of this video, and then the rest of the video will be a little bit more vlog heavy, talking about some personal stuff. But let's go ahead and talk about the LeBron James trailer. I'll go ahead and play that over the footage of me talking here. First of all, I'm pretty excited about it. I don't know that he's going to be a character that I float to. I don't know. We'll see how he plays when he comes out. We'll see. But in either case, I think that he's got a really interesting and unique moveset. I really like that he uses the basketball the way that he does. It looks like he can pass the basketball between himself and his teammate. And I don't really know what that looks like, but I think, I know what it looks like, but I don't know how that would be utilized mechanically. But the potential sounds really interesting. I love that he has these spikes that he can do by throwing the ball downward or by slam dunking the ball. I like that he can pass the ball and use that as an effective tool for ringing out at close to the edge of the screen. So he puts himself at a lot less risk. He's a little bit like Batman, it seems, with the with Batman's Batarang. I don't know exactly how that's going to work out and how his moveset's going to work out, but I think he looks really interesting. I think he looks unique. I love the way his 3D model looks. I thought they were just going to copy what he looked like in the animated version from Space Jam 2, but instead they certainly are obviously influenced by that design and by the movie itself, given that he is in the Toon Squad jersey. But either way, I think that he looks really cool. I think the moveset looks really interesting. But there's also Rick and Morty got announced. I'm kind of confused as to what is happening with the release of Rick and Morty. The image, I'll go ahead and show that now, makes it seem as if they're going to be coming out as soon as the preseason is over, when season 1 starts. But I caught wind of from a Twitter person that was at the panel that said that Morty will be coming out first and then Rick. So I don't exactly know how that works, but I think on August 9th we'll be getting one or both of them, so that's pretty exciting. I'm looking forward to that. We don't know anything about them. We know what they look like, but they just look like how they look in the shows. So I don't know what that translates to in the game. So we'll see how that goes when we see more footage of them, but I'm really excited about that. August 8th is when the preseason ends, so that means August 9th is when we should expect to see at least one of them. All right, so that's that, and that concludes the conversation about all the more recent news and everything. So on to more personal matters. For those of you guys that are longtime subscribers or that have been around since I started doing Multiverses content, I know that I did 12 episodes, so that was 12 weeks of uploads for Multiverses for the living roster before I kind of took a hiatus, and then I came back for a couple of videos, and then I disappeared again. And I'm sure that if you're a fan of the content, it's a little frustrating. And if you're a fan of mine as well, then you're probably used to this to some extent. So I wanted to just kind of explain why that is, why why these hiatuses and stuff like that keep happening, or why I'll go long times without uploading. Now, the first thing is that, and I've said this many times, obviously I'm a dad and a husband, so I have other responsibilities to my family, and then, beyond that, I have a job, a past full-time job where I constantly work 45, 50-hour work weeks. And now I work way further away from home than I used to, so that's exciting. No, the company's doing actually really, really well, and so I'm really happy that it's taken some years to get us back to that point, but the company's doing healthily, and it looks like we have a bright future ahead of us. But That's lore for those of you that have been around for a really, really long time. Okay, so why though? Like, other than that, like other than responsibilities and family and stuff like that, obviously I have free time, right? And I do have free time, but I also have like, so I was diagnosed with ADD when I was a kid, but my parents didn't really buy into the diagnoses. So there was like a short stint, like a week or two, that I took Ritalin, I think, but they didn't think they saw any difference in my behavior, so they just took me off of it without talking to a doctor. I don't know. I grew up in the 90s, like the late 80s and early 90s and stuff. So I guess like that was an era where people just thought like sometimes they just didn't listen to doctors, which is really absurd. That's not how I am. But in either case, so that's important because that ADD diagnosis, I think, is something that because I didn't know, or because I guess I knew about it, but I didn't take it seriously because my parents didn't believe in it. So I just kind of like went about my life and acted like everything I did was normal. But I've always had this thing where I'll get into like really, really cool hobbies or things that I'm really interested in. And then before you know it, like that, whatever I'm really interested in changes. Like when I was a kid, it was like playing guitar or skateboarding or rollerblading or whatever. I would get really into it for a few months, and then I'd switch off into something else, and then I'd switch off into something else again. And as an adult, it's really followed me into adulthood. And I think that the ADD is part of why that is, like why I can't stick with things for very long periods of time. There's like the World of Warcraft fighting game that I started making, right? And I spent like 2 months working on what is there for that. And frankly, like that was it. You know what I mean? Like I made that game, or I worked on that for a while, and then I just haven't really had a lot of drive or interest to go back and do it. Like it's something I want to do, but like on my priority list, it's way at the bottom of my priority list. And then, I'll get into making videos, right? And so that's kind of what happened with the Multiversus Living Roster content, is like I got really, really into making the living roster, and it became a really big part of every day. Obviously I took care of my responsibilities and everything, but wherever I had free time, I was writing scripts or recording or editing or putting together graphics and all this other stuff. And I enjoy doing it. It's not that I don't, but it's really, really intensive. So it doesn't give me a lot of space for other types of hobbies. And my hobbies are vast. I have a crazy amount of hobbies, a crazy amount of things that I'm into. It's one of those things, like I can draw okay, but I can't draw amazingly well. And the reason I can is because I'm not like most professional artists that just spend all day, every day drawing, which I wish I was. I wish that was who I was, and I was that personality type, because if I was, then I'd be way better than I currently am. But, I'm getting better the more I do it, but it's one of those things where, just like anything else, like the YouTube channel or anything else, I'll be working on drawing for 2 or 3 months, and I'll be really, really into it and learning a lot and making good progress. And then all of a sudden I'll be like, I really want to work on this weird game that's been in my head for a long time. Let me learn some about coding and game development. And then I'll go do that for a couple of months. And then, it's back to YouTube for a couple of months. And then, I don't know, sometimes I'll get distracted by a specific kind of game. One of the things that I was really into was Elden Ring until I beat it. It was like 3 months it took me to beat that game. I think it was like 130 play hours. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. But it was just like, that was like what I did with most of my free time when I was playing that. So what happened between my last upload and now was that I was playing Elden Ring. I was focusing on my family. I've been doing a lot of D&D with some of my like friends. And then more than anything, it's really been drawing. I got really back into drawing for the past couple of months. I'll show some of the stuff that I've been working on. Some of them's commission, some of it is commissioned, and some of it's just like sketch work and unfinished work and stuff like that. But I just got really back into it for a little while. And then I saw a post. I'm going to go ahead and give a shout out to Shader Gamer. And dude, man, he's doing really, really well right now. His channel's seeing a lot of viewership and everything else. And it just got me thinking, like, man, if I'd have been making Multiversus content all this time, then I'd have something to really fall back on. And maybe I'd be seeing a really big explosion of new viewers and subscribers and stuff like that. And it makes me feel like kind of like I'm an idiot because I haven't been working on all that, but it's just not how my mind works. I'll get distracted and I just lose interest for a period of time. And then I feel guilty about it, right? Because I feel bad that, there's people that want content from me and then I'm not making that content. So all that to say, after I saw that post from Shader Gamer that he was talking about like this explosion of viewership that he's gotten, it made me think like, man, I should really try to get back into making content. And I've been sitting on the living roster for a long time, and I've had a hard time because a lot of leaks came out that that I caught wind of, and I saw a lot of information on, and that started to kind of influence how I was thinking about the living roster. And I don't want that not to the degree that it was. And I think I finally reached a point where I think I know how to have a conversation about the living roster despite the amount of leaks. So I think I'm going to start the living roster back. I don't know for sure, so I'm not like putting that in the thumbnail or the title of the video or anything like that because I don't want to get anybody's hopes up. But I have some ideas, and my plan is to start like putting together a script over the course of the next few days and hopefully shoot something. But before I do that, I actually wanted to do a quick review of the early access of Multiverses and kind of like the characters and how it works and the founders packs and all that stuff and whether I think it's worth buying and that kind of stuff. So I wanted to, and like rating the net code, that kind of stuff. So I think I'm going to do that first. That's probably the first video you guys will see from me after this. But I wanted to make this video because, I don't know, I just feel bad. It's been a long time since I released anything or I posted anything. And I know that some of you guys, not all of you, I know why would most people care? But some of you do. And some of you will reach out to me and ask me when the next episode of Living Roster is or where I've been and stuff like that. So I don't know, I just kind of feel bad. And I wanted to let y'all know what I've been doing, what I've been thinking about and where I've been. So that's kind of it, right? I've got a couple of video ideas. I think I have a long-term idea for the living roster, but we'll see. I have to start actually putting it together and drawing up plans and stuff like that. But as far as like a review, I think you can expect that by Tuesday. I'd like to post it by the time the open beta goes live. That way I can try to, if they're still planning on doing founders packs around that time, I can hopefully have a conversation about the founders packs and whether or not I think they're worth it and that kind of thing. I want to, before I go, I don't know. I guess I just want to say thank you to everybody for sticking around. And there's a group of, I think, like 50 to 70 of you guys, which obviously like big YouTubers have like thousands of people, but I don't know, the 50 and 70 of you guys that show up to every video. I love you guys, man. I can't name you all. Some of you are just lurkers and some of you leave comments every time, but I don't want to leave anybody out, so I'm not going to start naming everybody. But those of you guys that have stuck around for all this time, those like 50 to 70 of you guys, maybe up to 100, I can't tell you guys how much I appreciate it. You guys show support on anything I post, and I know you guys will be on this video. So thank y'all for sticking around with me as I try to like sort through how I want to do YouTube and work that in with the rest of my hobbies and things that I'm interested in. I can't make any promises that I'm going to come back as like a long-term thing for YouTube. It's just, I want to, I just can't. Like, I don't want to make any promises that I can't keep. So I've got some ideas. Hopefully I can get to work on them. This is a bit longer than I wanted it to be. I'm just kind of going off the cuff and just talking as it's coming to mind. So I hope it's not too boring. I hope those of you guys that stuck around and watched the video enjoyed it. For like why anybody would, I don't know. But thank you guys for all the support and for showing up and everything. And yeah, keep your eyes peeled. I'm thinking something's coming in the next couple of days. We'll see. All right, guys. Y'all have a good one, and I'll see y'all soon.